Imagine a fire that started over 60 years ago and is still burning today, right beneath a town. This isn't a scene from a horror movie. It's the real story of Centralia, Pennsylvania, a modern-day ghost town with a fire that simply won't go out. So, what exactly happened? How did a small town turn into a smoldering, toxic wasteland that's been burning for decades? Let's rewind to May 1962. It all started innocently enough. Some folks in Centralia decided to clean up the local landfill by setting the trash on fire. It was a common practice back then. The problem was this landfill was located inside an abandoned strip mine pit. Unbeknownst to them, this small fire found its way into a massive, interconnected network of anthracite coal mines that lay like a labyrinth right under the entire town. Anthracite is a very hard, high-carbon coal, and once it starts burning, it's incredibly difficult to extinguish. At first, nobody really grasped the severity of the situation. They tried to put it out, of course. They dug trenches and flushed the mines with water and fly ash, but nothing worked. The fire was too deep, the mine network too vast and complex. It was like trying to put out a forest fire, but underground, where you can't even see the flames. The fire just kept finding new veins of coal to consume, spreading silently beneath the streets and homes of Centralia. For the next 2 decades, life in Centralia became surreal and dangerous. Imagine walking down the street and feeling the pavement getting hot under your feet, hot enough to melt the soles of your shoes. Toxic gases like carbon monoxide and sulfur dioxide started seeping out of cracks in the ground, poisoning the air. Residents would find smoke billowing from their basements or backyards. The ground itself became unstable. Massive sinkholes would suddenly appear without warning, swallowing trees and parts of the road. The people of Centralia lived in a constant state of fear. You never knew when the ground might open up beneath you. The air was thick with the smell of sulfur, and many people suffered from health problems caused by the toxic fumes. Basements had to be constantly monitored for deadly levels of carbon monoxide. It was a slow-motion disaster, an invisible enemy eating away at the town from below. The turning point came in 1981, a moment that captured national attention. A 12-year-old boy named Tote Dombowski was playing in his grandmother's backyard when the ground suddenly crumbled beneath him. He plunged into a sinkhole that was over 150 feet deep, filled with scalding steam and lethal gases. He managed to grab onto a tree root just in time and was pulled to safety by his cousin. This terrifying incident finally made it clear that Centralia was no longer safe for anyone. After this near tragedy, the U.S. Congress finally stepped in. They allocated over $42 million not to fight the fire, but to move the people out. Extinguishing the underground inferno was deemed technically impossible and far too expensive. Estimates ran into the hundreds of millions. So, the government began a voluntary relocation program, buying out the homes of the roughly 1,000 residents. Most families took the offer and left behind their homes, their memories, and their community. By the 1990s, the government officially condemned the town. The post office was closed, the zip code was deleted, and most of the buildings were demolished to prevent people from moving back into the dangerous area. Centralia was effectively erased from the map, leaving only a few streets, a cemetery, and a handful of defiant residents who refused to leave their homes. Today, Centralia is a haunting shell of its former self. It's a modern ghost town, with empty streets, overgrown with weeds and smoke still rising from cracks in the earth. The fire is still burning. Experts estimate there's enough coal underground to fuel the blaze for another 250 years. It rages across thousands of acres, a subterranean inferno that humanity started but cannot stop. The story of Centralia serves as a chilling, real-life reminder of how a small mistake can lead to an unstoppable environmental catastrophe. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating and terrifying as I did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into real, unbelievable facts. See you in the next one.